I by happenstance discovered like everything that was kind of in the space when my friend sent me Rollo's infamous SMB graph. And he was just, we're just having some random conversation. He sent that to me, and I was like, "Hey, this is like pretty cool. Like Rollo Tomasi. All right, interesting. Like there might be some stuff here." And so this was back in the day when it was like blogs were the big thing, right? So it was like I remember looking up on it. It was just like his newest section was like, "Oh, the Rational Male, like year 2." And so that should tell you like how how different the time was back then. So I was like, oh man, like this is like awesome. So I wanted like going through and just like, okay, this is a lot of theories, so there's a lot of good ideas. And then through another blog that he was recommended, there's this guy by the moniker, I doubt people know who he is now, but his name was Christian McQueen. Awesome guy, wound up befriending him. I got nothing but good things to say about that guy because one, I learned a lot from him and a lot from his blog, but also two, as a friend, he definitely has helped me out personally a couple times. So if you're watching this CMQ, like, don't think I've forgotten. Like, I very vividly remember. So I got something coming for you soon. But being able to merge that theoretical with the practical. And then there was another blog that was influential for me, which was this other guy that not a lot of people really know this day and age. His name was Goldman, and he kind of had like the artistic twist on things. So like kind of figuring out like the nuanced art of everything. So kind of adding a little bit of the meaning. So you had like kind of Rollo, that was like kind of the cerebral or the theoretical. I had Christian McQueen, he was definitely very much the practical. I mean, like one of his ebooks was like the strip club Bible, where it's like, hey, how to go to a strip club and like pick up strippers or whatever. And then you had this third guy, Goldman, who was kind of like the nuanced art or spiritual side of the whole equation. So piecing a lot of those influences together then allowed me to really see some personal transformation in myself, and then being able to kind of leverage that to where I am now. So rewind the clock back 15 years, if you would have told me like, yeah, at some point for 1 year you'd be like going insane, and for 2 months you'd actively be dating and hooking up with 14 girls at once, and then when you decided to slow down, you'd wind up having like 2 full-time girlfriends you'd chase girls together with for threesomes. I'd be like, all right, what are you smoking, and what science fiction future is this? Like, there's no way this could possibly happen. But lo and behold, that was like definitely my 2020. So it was a very, very, very fun time. And so that's why I tell a lot of people is like, hey, look, like you look at me and you see like everything that I'm confident. I got like some charisma. I can have some physical presence, and like I can own sort of like my space as well as my energy very well. But all of this is the end result of a very, very concentrated and dedicated effort to make that step and stride towards self-improvement. And never underestimate how quickly you can change or improve or level up when you're making a very, very active, focused, concentrated effort. Because it was like, yeah, there's plenty of times I'd had to like, go out on my own and figure it out. And so really coming into my own, where there's some nights where I was just taking conscious notes, where it's like, okay, like I'm out here, I'm by myself, my night is really in my hands, right? I can either not talk to anybody, or I can go out and socialize and just like see what happens, right? And then again, there was some fine tuning where it's like, okay, I'm trying out like, just being like a little bit more cocky. Okay, now I'm coming off as like very arrogant. So I'm like going a little bit too far on this side. Let me rein it back. And other nights it's like, yeah, I want to like talking to 2 people when I should be talking to like 8 or 10 at least. So, okay, let me like, get a little bit more outside that shell. And so again, just really being comfortable and confident in my own skin. That's what, has kind of enabled me to be where I am today. But it was definitely not an easy road. Cause I mean, one of the, especially in the early days when I was, blogging back when that was like a thing, 90% of my content was all talking about like my failures and all the times that like I, either bombed or sucked or things just didn't go my way. Because like that's where the real learning comes from, is like when things don't work out for you. It's great when you get the win, but the wins mean so much more when it's like you bomb 9 times and that 10th time it's like, oh, okay, cool, you meet someone you connect with and you're having a great time. So that was a huge part for me in the early days, was really focusing on like, yeah, these are my failures. Like, yeah, you see this now, but again, rewind the clock back 15 years, completely different picture, completely different scenario. And so, the other thing I tell people is like, again, guys, or especially guys, they're always fixated on like, what's this one thing that I can do? And like the answer to that question is always all of it. because they always want to pinpoint one thing that's going wrong, right? It's like, oh, well, you're a tall guy. Girls like tall guys. Like that buys you like an extra like 2 seconds of actual like, potential interest. But if you have like no game or nothing, then you're just, all right, cool. You're just a tall dude that's like blending into the background, right? Or, oh, they like guys that like have money. It's like, dude, I know so many rich guys that like have like can't talk to a girl, and girls just they don't find them fascinating. They'll be interested in like kind of the lifestyle they can provide, but at the end of the day, they're nothing's really like happening that's actually meaningful. So it's never like one thing. It's always you gotta constantly work on all of it. But the fun side of it is that it creates this kind of positive feedback loop where it's like, all right, I'm going to the gym and I'm getting like physically in shape. Now I'm like my mind is sharper, so now I'm like making more money. Now my money is like sharper, so now I got more confidence, like subconsciously. And then that's like feeding back into, all right, more confidence, I'm going to the gym. And like, so it all really like builds up and escalates, but it's a building process. So as I tell people, it's like, yeah, the number one thing you need to focus on is all of it.